and I went to the Riobamba, a nightclub on East 57th Street, or West 57th Street rather, and I came to the 2:30 a.m. show. Now here was a fellow who was just killing them 5 shows a day at the Paramount Theater, all the Bobby Soxers, shrieking and screaming. And now it's 2:30 a.m. in this nightclub in New York City, and the clientele there is not any Bobby Soxer clientele. It was a real cross-section of New York nightlife, from the gangsters to the call girls to the society people to the businessmen. It was a complete cross-section. And at 2:30 in the morning, I walked in to see Frank, and he rushed up and he put his arms around me and said, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you?" What he was referring to was the fact that one night at the Palladium, we were sitting and talking, and he told me, he said, "I'm going to be the biggest and the best singer in the world." And he said it with such an intensity and with such a fervor that I said, "No question about it." He says, "Do you believe me?" I said, "Of course I believe you." And I did believe him. So here he was throwing his arms around me and saying, "I told you, I told you." I said, "Well, don't tell me anything, let me see the show." It was 2:30 in the morning, and it was the typical nightclub show, and there was a typical little nightclub orchestra, Axel Storlo. And all the acts that were introduced normally walked in from behind the bandstand and did whatever they did. But when it came time for Sinatra, and they were obviously just all tensed up waiting for him, you had the typical timpani roll. Brrr. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Riobamba proudly presents Frank Sinatra." And I looked for him to make his entrance from whence all the others had, and he came strolling through the tables. Already was a little different. He came on the floor, he took his position, and he just stared that audience down. He just stood there. He had then a Lincoln-esque quality about him. There is a bust of him made by the sculptor Joe. What's his name? I think of it in a minute. I got it in the other room. It's an incredible sculpture of his, of Sinatra. He got it from the Photoplay magazine. Have you ever seen it? It's an incredible thing, and it looks Lincoln-esque. And that's where he looked that night on the floor. And he started to sing, and he absolutely, totally mesmerized that audience. And one of my most memorable moments that night was when he was singing that Old Black Magic, and some hulk of a giant coughed. And Sinatra, without missing a note, just looked at him, and this fella wanted to sink under the table. He could have stood up and just knocked Sinatra across the room with his pinky, but Sinatra had just cowed him.